First contact deception, Grand Admiral Vexor Kaln of the Galactic Alliance's 7th Patrol Fleet prided himself on remaining calm under pressure. In 3 centuries of service, he had faced down rebellious worlds, hostile species, and countless anomalies of deep space. Yet nothing in his extensive experience had prepared him for the vessel that now hung in space before his command ship. Report, he ordered, 6 eyes fixed on the main view screen. Science Officer Tesla, a willowy mantiri with translucent skin that pulsed with nervous light patterns, consulted her instruments. Configuration unknown, Admiral. The vessel appears armed, though the weapon systems are unlike anything in our database. Impossible, Vexor muttered. We've cataloged every spacefaring species in this sector. It appeared suddenly, sir, Tactical Officer Krex added. No warp signature, no jump residue. One moment empty space, the next. He gestured at the sleek, angular ship displayed on screen. The vessel was relatively small compared to the Alliance cruiser, perhaps 1/3 its size, but possessed a predatory appearance that suggested it was designed primarily for combat. Its hull was matte black, absorbing rather than reflecting light, with strange protrusions that seemed designed to confuse sensor readings. Open communications, Vexor ordered. Communications Officer Zelani worked her console. No response on standard frequencies, Admiral. I'm trying all known protocols. Keep trying. Sir, Tesla interrupted, her skin flashing with excitement. I've completed a deeper analysis. The ship bears markings in a language I recognize. It's from Earth. A ripple of murmurs ran through the bridge crew. Earth. Vexor's facial ridges furrowed. The primitive bipedal species from the quarantine system? Yes, sir. The humans. Vexor felt his secondary heart skip a beat. Earth was a monitored world, its inhabitants observed but not contacted. Alliance assessments had determined humans were at least 2 centuries away from achieving viable interstellar travel. That's not possible, he said firmly. Their technology is far too primitive. Sir, Zelani called out, they're responding now. Audio and visual. On screen. The view screen flickered and a human face appeared. Vexor recognized the species from briefings, pinkish-tan skin, dark hair pulled back tightly, 2 eyes set in a flat face. The specimen wore a dark uniform with insignia Vexor didn't recognize. This is Captain Elena Reyes of the Earth warship Retribution, the human announced in perfect Alliance standard. I request to speak with whoever commands your vessel. Vexor stepped forward. I am Grand Admiral Vexor Kaln of the Galactic Alliance 7th Patrol Fleet. Your presence in this sector is unauthorized. Earth has not been granted interstellar travel privileges. The human smiled, a gesture Vexor knew could indicate either friendliness or aggression in their species. With respect, Admiral, we didn't ask for permission. How did you achieve interstellar capability? Our assessments indicated that we were centuries away from the stars. Reyes interrupted. Yes, that's what we wanted you to think. Vexor felt his skin cooling with alarm. Explain. Your observation posts aren't nearly as subtle as you believe, Admiral. We detected your probes entering our system 70 Earth years ago. Rather than announcing ourselves, we decided to observe the observers. Impossible. The Alliance used the most advanced cloaking technology in known space. No pre-spaceflight civilization should have been able to detect their monitoring systems. You're saying humans have known about the Alliance for decades? Vexor asked. Known about, studied, and prepared for, Reyes confirmed. We've been intercepting your communications, analyzing your technology, and learning your languages, all presenting the appearance of a species focused on internal conflicts and primitive space exploration. Sir, Krex whispered urgently, sensors indicate their weapons systems just went active. Vexor kept his posture rigid. Captain Reyes, powering weapons could be interpreted as a hostile act. Consider it a precaution, Admiral. We've observed how the Alliance treats species that can't defend themselves. Tactical Officer Krex leaned closer. Admiral, I'm detecting unusual energy signatures. Their propulsion system is like nothing in our database, and those weapon ports, he hesitated. They appear designed to bypass standard Alliance shielding frequencies. Vexor felt cold dread settling in his thoracic cavity. If humans had somehow developed countermeasures to Alliance technology, the implications were staggering. What do you want, Captain? Vexor asked, mandibles clicking with tension. Justice and recognition, Reyes replied. 6 months ago, an Alliance security vessel destroyed one of our research ships near the Proxima Centauri system. 47 scientists and crew were killed. Vexor blinked in confusion. There is no record of such an encounter. We have the records, Admiral. Full sensor logs, communications data, and visual confirmation of an Alliance vessel firing on an unarmed Earth ship without warning or provocation. That would violate our most fundamental protocols, Vexor protested. And yet it happened, Reyes said, her voice hardening. The Alliance has operated under the assumption that humanity is ignorant, primitive, and helpless. That assumption has cost human lives. Before Vexor could respond, Tesla spoke up. Admiral, 3 more ships just appeared. Same configuration. The view screen split to show the new arrivals. Identical vessels taking up tactical positions around the Alliance cruiser. As you can see, Reyes continued, we're not as helpless as your report suggested. Vexor forced himself to remain outwardly calm, though his mind raced. 4 human warships wouldn't normally pose a threat to an Alliance cruiser, but if they possess technology capable of bypassing their defenses. What are your intentions, Captain? I've been authorized to deliver an ultimatum from Earth's united government. The Alliance will acknowledge humanity as a spacefaring species with full diplomatic recognition and rights. An investigation into the Proxima Centauri incident will be conducted with human participation, and reparations will be paid to the families of those killed. Or, Vexor prompted, or Earth will pursue other avenues to ensure its security and interests in this sector, Reyes replied evenly. We've already established relations with several species who share our concerns about Alliance policies. Vexor's antennae twitched in alarm. You've contacted other species without authorization. Again, Admiral, we didn't ask for permission. The Phenaxi were particularly receptive, as were the Dralin and Korath. 3 species with grievances against the Alliance. 3 species with significant resources and technology. I must consult with Alliance High Command, Vexor said finally. You have 48 standard hours, Reyes responded. The Retribution will remain in position awaiting your answer. Any attempt to bring additional forces into this sector will be considered a hostile action. Am I to understand that a single planet is threatening the Galactic Alliance, Captain? Vexor asked, unable to keep a note of disbelief from his voice. Captain Reyes smiled again, and this time there was nothing ambiguous about its meaning. Not threatening, Admiral. Simply introducing ourselves as we truly are, not as you presumed us to be. Humanity is taking its place among the stars, either with the Alliance's blessing or despite its objection. The choice is yours. The transmission ended, leaving the bridge in stunned silence. Orders, Admiral? Krex finally asked. Vexor stared at the human ships, their presence representing the most significant intelligence failure in Alliance history. Contact High Command, he said quietly. Priority Alpha and run a search through restricted archives. Find everything we have on the Proxima Centauri incident. As his crew hurried to comply, Vexor couldn't shake the feeling that the galaxy had just become a far more complicated place. The diplomatic dance. The Alliance High Council chamber, normally a model of serenity and order, had descended into chaos. Representatives from 37 species filled the circular hall with a cacophony of angry voices, accusations, and demands for explanations. Supreme Counselor Xylar Sen, a venerable Solari, whose crystalline body structure reflected light in undulating patterns, raised both appendages for silence. It took several moments for order to be restored. The situation is unprecedented but not unmanageable, Xylar announced, his voice resonating through the chamber. Yes, humanity has achieved interstellar capability far ahead of our projections. Yes, they appear to have technology that we did not anticipate. But they remain a single species from a single world. A single world that has been spying on us for decades, shouted Counselor Mrek of the Vex hierarchy, his armored exoskeleton clicking with agitation. While we observed them, they were observing us. This represents a catastrophic security breach. More concerning, added NASA Pell, the Serpentine representative of the Slith Dominion, is their claim about the Proxima Centauri incident. Admiral Vexor, what have your investigations revealed? All eyes turned to Grand Admiral Vexor, who stood uncomfortably at the center of the chamber. The incident was classified at the highest level, he admitted. 6 standard months ago, security vessel Vigilant encountered what it believed to be an unauthorized scout ship from the Korath Empire near Proxima Centauri. The vessel refused to identify itself and made what the Vigilant's captain interpreted as aggressive movements. The Vigilant fired warning shots, which apparently caused a cascade failure in the unknown vessel's power systems. It was destroyed with all hands. And you're only telling us this now, Rek demanded. The incident was handled according to protocols for potential Korath incursions, Vexor replied stiffly. I was briefed only after Captain Reyes made her accusations. Counselor Xylar's crystalline form darkened with concern. This complicates matters significantly. If humans possess proof of the encounter, they claim to have complete sensor logs, Vexor confirmed. And they've already shared this information with the Phenaxi, Dralin, and Korath. The chamber erupted again, voices rising in alarm and anger. The human delegation awaits our response, Xylar reminded them. They arrive in 1 standard hour. I suggest we compose ourselves and prepare a unified position. When the human diplomatic team entered the High Council chamber 2 hours later, even the most xenophobic counselors couldn't help but stare in fascination. Led by Ambassador Sophia Chen, a dignified woman with silver-streaked hair, the five-person delegation moved with confidence that bordered on arrogance. Esteemed counselors, Chen began after introductions had been completed. We come representing not just Earth, but humanity's expanding presence among the stars. We currently maintain 17 off-world colonies and outposts, with plans for expansion into systems the Alliance has designated as unclaimed. 17 colonies? Counselor NASA Pell's forked tongue flicked out in surprise. How is this possible without detection? Ambassador Chen smiled. The same way we developed our fleet, Counselor. Carefully and quietly. Your monitoring systems focus on Earth itself and our solar system's major bodies. Our early colony ships were designed specifically to evade your detection protocols. Which brings us to a central question, Xyler interjected. How did pre-spaceflight humans detect our observation platforms in the first place? They employ our most advanced cloaking technology. A younger human stepped forward, Dr. Marcus Wong, introduced as Earth's Chief of Technological Development. Your cloaking technology relies on bending light and other electromagnetic radiation around the observation platforms, he explained, quite effective against conventional detection methods. But we discovered purely by accident that the cloaking field creates subtle gravitational anomalies. Our LIGO gravity wave detectors noticed these irregularities during an unrelated experiment in 2042. Once we knew what to look for, he continued, finding your observation platforms was simply a matter of refining our detection methods. We've been tracking their movements for decades. The council chamber remained silent as the implications sank in. Humans had not only detected what should have been undetectable, but they'd done so using principles the Alliance had never considered. Ambassador Chen, Xyler said finally, regarding the Proxima Centauri incident, we acknowledge that an Alliance security vessel was involved in the destruction of your research ship. While the captain believed he was responding to a potential threat, we recognize this was a tragic error. A tragic error that cost 47 lives, Chen replied coldly. We have brought families of the victims who wish to address this council. The emotional testimony that followed, humans describing parents, children, and spouses lost in the incident, affected even the most stoic counselors. Species that prided themselves on logical detachment found themselves moved by the raw grief displayed by the human family members. When the testimony concluded, Ambassador Chen spoke again. We do not seek conflict with the Alliance. We seek recognition, justice, and assurance that such incidents will never happen again. And if we refuse, Councilor Mrek challenged, then Earth will formalize its alliances with other independent powers, Chen replied smoothly. The Phenaxi Collective has already offered us membership in their trading consortium. The Drayla have expressed interest in mutual defense agreements, and the Korath, well, they were quite interested to learn that the vessel you destroyed near Proxima Centauri was human, not Korath as you suspected. Vexer felt the chamber's temperature seem to drop. The Korath Empire had been in a tense standoff with the Alliance for centuries. If they believed the Alliance had tried to frame them for an attack on humans, these are dangerous games for a newly spacefaring species, Xyler warned. Not games, Counselor. Survival, Chen corrected. Humanity emerged from our cradle to find a galaxy where power is concentrated in the hands of ancient civilizations that view younger species as little more than curiosities or resources to be managed. We refuse to accept that position. Dr. Wong activated a holographic display in the center of the chamber. We've prepared a presentation demonstrating some of humanity's technological developments that might be of interest to the Alliance. What followed was nothing short of astonishing. Quantum communication systems that operated without subspace limitations, medical nanotechnology that could repair cellular damage at a level Alliance medicine couldn't match, and most concerning, defensive systems that could detect and counter Alliance weapons with frightening efficiency. How? One counselor finally asked. How did you develop these technologies so quickly? Ambassador Chen's expression hardened slightly. Necessity and determination. When we realized we weren't alone in the universe, and that the dominant powers viewed us as primitives to be contained and controlled, we devoted our considerable creativity and resources to ensuring our survival. You make it sound as though the Alliance is a threat, Xyler observed. Isn't it? Chen countered. Your protocols dictate that pre-spaceflight civilizations remain quarantined until they independently develop FTL travel, a process that typically takes centuries. During that time, they remain vulnerable, ignorant of the greater galactic community, and unable to protect their interests. We chose a different path. As the presentation concluded, Xyler called for a brief recess. The counselors withdrew to a private chamber, leaving the human delegation alone in the council hall. They're afraid, Vexer observed quietly to Xyler once they were in private chambers. As they should be, the Supreme Counselor replied. Humanity has revealed itself to be far more advanced and dangerous than we anticipated. But I sense something else beneath their demands. a genuine desire for peaceful integration provided their terms are met. Can we trust them? Skylar's crystalline form pulsed thoughtfully. Can we afford not to? If they truly allied with the Phynaxi, Draylen, and Koroth, refusing their demands could fracture the stability we maintained for millennia. When the council reconvened, Xylar addressed the human delegation with formal gravity. Ambassador Chen, the Alliance High Council, has considered your presentation and demands. We propose the following: full diplomatic recognition of Earth and its colonies as sovereign territories, an official apology and reparations for the Proxima Centauri incident, and the establishment of a joint commission to prevent future misunderstandings. Chen nodded slowly, promising start, Councilor Xylar. But incomplete. What more do you require? A seat on this council, Chen stated firmly. Humanity will not be relegated to the status of a client state or junior partner. We demand full participation in decisions that affect our region of space. Rex slammed an armored appendage against his podium. Outrageous. Species must contribute to the Alliance for centuries before earning council representation. Those are your rules, Councilor, Chen replied calmly. Rules created to maintain the existing power structure. We're proposing new rules, or rather, suggesting that the old ones may no longer apply in a changing galaxy. As protests erupted around the chamber, a communication alert sounded. Xylar checked the message, and his crystalline form darkened alarmingly. It appears, he announced, that we must continue this discussion later. Our long-range sensors have detected an Alliance battle group approaching the human vessels at the rendezvous point. They are launching fighters. Chen's expression didn't change, but her eyes hardened. I was assured no hostile action would be taken while negotiations proceeded. This was not authorized by the Council, Xylar insisted, looking pointedly at Mrek, whose armored carapace twitched in what might have been satisfaction. Chen touched a communication device on her wrist. Chen to Earth Command. Initiate Protocol Omega. She looked up at the stunned Council. I suggest we all watch what happens next. It may inform your decision regarding our proposal. In New Galactic Order, Admiral Jorex of the Alliance 3rd Battle Group was confident in his mission. The 4 human vessels, while unusual, could not possibly stand against his 12 capital ships and their fighter escorts. The Alliance had maintained its dominance for millennia through technological superiority and overwhelming force when necessary. Targeting solutions on all 4 human vessels, his weapons officer reported. Shields at maximum. Open a channel, Jorex ordered. Let's give them one chance to surrender. The communication officer worked her console. No response, Admiral. They appear to be powering up their systems, but not their weapons. Interesting, Jorex thought. Perhaps they recognize the futility of resistance. Launch fighters, standard containment pattern, he ordered. Disable their engines first. The sleek Alliance fighters streamed from the hangar bays, forming up into attack formations. They accelerated toward the human vessels, weapons charged. Sir, the sensor officer called out, voice tinged with confusion. I'm detecting unusual energy patterns from the human ships. It's almost as if the officer never finished his sentence. Across the bridge view screens, the fighters suddenly scatter, their formation dissolving into chaos. Several spun out of control, while others simply went dark, drifting lifelessly in space. What's happening? Jorex demanded. Some kind of electromagnetic pulse, but like nothing I've ever seen, the science officer reported frantically. It's bypassing our shielding completely, targeting only active weapon systems and propulsion. Impossible. Shields to maximum. Prepare main batteries. But before the Alliance vessels could reorient themselves, a blinding flash erupted in space between the battle groups. When the light faded, 50 new vessels had appeared. A mixture of human warships and ships bearing the markings of the Phynaxi, Draylen, and Koroth. Sir, we're being hailed, the communications officer announced, unable to keep the tremor from her voice. On screen, Jorex ordered, feeling his confidence evaporating. The face that appeared belonged to Fleet Admiral Kira Okamura of Earth, her expression stern but not triumphant. Admiral Jorex, this is an unauthorized military action against a diplomatic delegation. Stand down immediately. Jorex struggled to maintain his composure. You have no authority in Alliance space. Your vessels will power down and prepare to be boarded. Admiral Okamura actually smiled at this. Look at your sensor readings, Admiral. Your fighters have been neutralized without a single casualty. Your weapon systems are temporarily offline. We could have destroyed your entire battle group, but chose not to. This isn't a battle. It's a demonstration. From the tactical display, Jorex could see she was right. His fighters were adrift, their systems offline. His capital ship's weapons had gone dark. They were defenseless. What have you done to my ships? He demanded. We call it the Aegis system, Okamura explained. Non-lethal electromagnetic countermeasures that target specific systems without harming organic life. Your crews are fine. Your ships will regain full functionality in approximately 1 hour. Her expression hardened, by which time I expect this unauthorized aggression to have been addressed by your High Council. The transmission cut off, leaving Jorix staring at the tactical display in disbelief. In 3 centuries of service, he had never seen Alliance technology so completely neutralized. Back in the High Council chamber, the assembled counselors watched the encounter unfold on the main display with a mixture of shock and disbelief. When the transmission ended, all eyes turned to the human delegation. As you can see, Ambassador Chen said calmly, humanity comes to this negotiation with significant capabilities. We could have eliminated those ships, but that is not our way. We seek cooperation, not conquest. Counselor Nrek, whose unauthorized order had launched the fleet action, found himself suddenly isolated as other counselors moved away from him. You made your point, Ambassador, Xylar conceded, but understand our position. No species in recorded history has emerged onto the galactic stage with such abrupt capability. You've bypassed centuries of gradual integration. Because your system of gradual integration was designed to ensure newer species remain dependent on the Alliance, Chen countered. We chose independence. Dr. Wang stepped forward again. The technologies we developed aren't just weapons. Our medical advances could benefit billions across the galaxy. Our agricultural techniques could end food shortages on dozens of worlds. Our energy systems could replace outdated fusion reactors on countless planets. You offer technology in exchange for recognition? NASA Pell asked skeptically. We offer partnership, one corrected, equal partnership. The council chambers fell silent as the representatives considered this. Finally, Xylar spoke. The human delegation will withdraw while the council deliberates. This may take some time. Chen nodded. We understand. But remember, the galaxy is changing. The question is whether the Alliance will change with it or be left behind. The deliberations lasted 3 full rotations. Arguments raged, alliances shifted, and threats were made. But in the end, pragmatism prevailed. When a human delegation returned to the chamber, they found the subdued but unified council awaiting them. Ambassador Chen, Xylar began formally, the Galactic Alliance High Council has reached its decision. Earth and its colonies are granted full diplomatic recognition as sovereign territories. Reparations will be paid for the Proxima Centauri incident and a formal apology issued to the families affected. Chen nodded but remained silent, waiting. Furthermore, Xylar continued, in recognition of humanity's unique situation and demonstrated capabilities, Earth will be granted provisional representation on the High Council for a probationary period of 5 standard years. Murmurs rippled through the chamber, but no voices rose in protest. During this time, Xylar added, a new framework for integrating emerging civilizations will be developed with human input. The current quarantine protocol for pre-spaceflight species will be reviewed and potentially revised. And the battle group that attacked our ships, Chen inquired, has been recalled. Those responsible will face consequences, Xylar assured her, with a pointed look toward Counselor Mrek, who sat in conspicuous isolation. Ambassador Chen stepped forward. The United Government of Earth accepts these terms with one addition. The knowledge that we are not alone in the universe must be shared with all humanity, openly and honestly. No more shadows, no more secrecy. Xylar hesitated, then nodded. Agreed. We will coordinate with your government on an appropriate disclosure protocol. Then we have an accord, Chen said, offering her hand in the human gesture of agreement. Xylar extended his crystalline appendage, completing the ritual. Welcome to the galactic community, Ambassador Chen. I suspect it will never be quite the same. 3 cycles later, Grand Admiral Vexer stood on the observation deck of Alliance headquarters, watching the newly commissioned human diplomatic vessel prepare for departure. Unlike their warships, this craft was elegant and beautiful, its hull adorned with artistic representations of Earth's diverse ecosystems and cultures. Quite a change from the Retribution, noted Counselor Xylar, who had joined him at the viewport. They're full of contradictions, Vexer observed. Warriors and diplomats, scientists and soldiers, they create beautiful art and devastating weapons with equal passion. Perhaps that's why they advance so quickly, Xylar mused. They contain multitudes, as their poet once said. Do you think we made the right decision? Vexer asked quietly. Xylar's crystalline form shimmered with amusement. Did we have a choice? They forced our hand masterfully. And if other species follow their example? If Adrenaline or Phenaxi demand council seats? Then we adapt, Xylar said simply. The galaxy is changing, Admiral. The humans merely hastened what was inevitable. As the human vessel gracefully departed, its engines flaring with a brilliance that suggested technology the Alliance still didn't fully understand, Vexer couldn't help but wonder what the galaxy would look like in 100 cycles or even 10. One thing was certain, the age of unquestioned Alliance dominance was over. A new galactic order was emerging, shaped by the most unexpected species of all, humans, who had announced their arrival not with humility, but with a quiet confidence that had shaken the foundations of galactic politics forever. "They're going to change everything, aren't they?" Vexor asked. "They already have," Xyla replied, watching the human ship disappear into the darkness of space. "They already have."